That's too blinding over there.
I have some conventions coming up, and I have some cross stitches I want to finish before that. Here's an example. I also have a gig happening in late August, and so I'm trying to rebuild my calluses. Between these two obligations, my response is to get an itch for making a video. Content itch. Aspirationally, I also want this to be a great opportunity for me to learn how to edit in my new program, because it's different. It's from the same company. I upgraded, but it's really different from my old program, and so I hate using it, but I need to learn how to use it. I think I used to have more thoughts, genuinely, when I talked to a camera more. I think that when I'm by myself nowadays, I just listen to a podcast, listen to the same YouTube videos over and over and over again. I play video games, and my brain doesn't exist. So I want to make a video because I want to practice my new editor that's from the same company but uses so many different interface and keyboard shortcuts. I want to remember what it feels like to talk and have thoughts and process. This is just such a naked spot. One of the things I've been listening to a lot lately is people reading Am I the Asshole, the subreddit stories, and reacting to them or discussing them, mostly Shaba and Smoshpit. So I found that even during my mindless droning on of listening on repeat the same 100 stories over and over again, I found that I started having idle thoughts about how this was in its own way a window into discovering what values you have. It's very interesting to see the different ways that people interpret the story, and when I find myself disagreeing with what they think is going on behind the scenes, or whatever. Oh, when did you start falling? It also had me thinking about what makes somebody an asshole. Like, what are the different axes of properties, and then, like, how do they align to become an asshole? There's an aspect of you didn't mean to do what happened. The hurting of somebody, did you know it would affect somebody negatively? How do you respond? And then there's like, how do you determine what's okay or not, or good or not? What are the values? What are the underlying like statements that you're crossing? So I thought maybe I'll just read through some stories, like my favorite YouTubers, as a vehicle to try to figure out these different properties of assholery, and then also my own opinions or values. In my mind, values are like opinions that you feel like really matter, like a lot. A person's principles, this is another synonym, or standards of behavior, one's judgment of what is important in life. Alright, this is a IKEA pencil. We're gonna figure this out. This is unrelated, but I've also been thinking about, I'm turning 29 soon, and when I was 19 years old, I did a thing where I made a video every week. I saw some other girl on YouTube doing it, and it was like documenting, you know, the last year of this like decade of your life. I'm afraid of being too ambitious though and like giving myself too much to do. Let's give this a try. Am I the asshole for losing my passport to avoid babysitting on my vacation? This is a weird ass angle for me to hold the phone at, but I also don't want my posture to be destroyed. I, female 17, still live at home. My sister, 28, is married and has 2 kids, 5 and 3. Whenever she comes home to visit my parents and her... Whenever she comes over to visit my parents and her... whenever she comes home to visit, my parents and her stick me with the kids. This wouldn't be a problem, except she doesn't visit for an evening. She will come for a week. And for that week, I am an unpaid nanny. If we go out to a restaurant, I have to entertain them because my mom needs to talk to my sister and brother-in-law. You get the picture. My parents decided that since this was my last summer before I became an adult, we would be going to Disneyland to celebrate my graduation. I asked who was going, and they said it was just the 3 of us. But when we got to the airport, my sister and her family were there. Strangely enough, they were also going to Disneyland. I went into my backpack and grabbed my passport. I put it in my sock. That is a weird... I blew past that. It's a weird coincidence. When we got to the international... I'm sorry, I could see myself doing this as a child. Honestly, when we got to the international security, I couldn't find it. We looked everywhere. I had to Uber home and I missed my flight. Oh well, I get to stay home by myself for a week of peace and quiet. I was thrilled to get COVID because no one was allowed to see me for 2 weeks. And that is when I rekindled my unhealthy relationship with video games. My parents were very mad at me for losing my passport. The money they spent on my flight and entrance was wasted. Darn. My mom and sister have both been posting about how hard it is to be at Disneyland with 2 little ones. They both thought that I ruined the vacation by being so thoughtless. My dad says he knows why I did, and he understands. He says I should have let him know so he didn't waste money. He said he would have gone along with my ruse. No! I feel bad about wasting money, but I have been to Disneyland before, and I will go again later by myself or with friends. I want to say... gut reaction? No. Is it because I don't like babysitting also? I mean, it sucks a little bit. Again, because of the wasted money. If I were that person, and especially given the response that she ruined the vacation by not going, I would not trust that if I just asked them that I don't want to go. Wait, hold on. No, she didn't know until she got to the airport and saw the sister there. Because then you're enrolled into a trip that you didn't really sign up for. I wonder if the parents know how much this person doesn't like babysitting the children. And so, was that a surprise on purpose? Or was it supposed to be a fun surprise? Or was it really just a coincidence? Like, I know people babysit cousins and stuff for their family all the time. I don't think you should be forced to do it. But I understand if a family can't, like, afford a baby. Like, in some situations, it really feels like you have to rely on other kids to babysit other kids. I've babysitted my cousins, and I've gotten paid for it. An extremely discounted rate, I guess. It sucks that the money was wasted, but you'd have no way to know that if you, like, what would have happened if you had asked. No, wait, I keep doing this. I just did this. She didn't know until she got there. And so the dad's point is kind of pointless, right? Because nobody knew. So actually, it wouldn't have helped. But if you only found out then and there, I think not the asshole. In a roundabout way, they paid a bunch of money for you to have a week of peace and quiet. Yeah, reply with, "Oh, I'm sorry I ruined your vacation. If only you had let me know in advance that you didn't in fact plan this vacation as a celebration for my graduation like you told me, but only wanted me there as an unpaid full-time babysitter. I'd have made more of an effort to be there, not the asshole." Great. This person suggests start having plans, get a job when your sister shows up. When your sister shows up, volunteer to work a lot that week until you have money to move out. I mean, you're almost college-aged anyway. Like, it's an age where a lot of people are moving out. Anyways, though in this economy, who knows? Not the asshole, but if your dad figured out what you did and understands why, he should advocate for you and tell your mom and sister that your function on Earth is not to serve as your sister's babysitter, and that you are done babysitting, and to ask you to any more, or pay her. Okay, someone else is pointing out, if you only found out at the airport, how could you have warned him? Great, thank you. Not the asshole. Was going to Disneyland for your graduation even your idea, or was it some kind of way for your sister to take her kids when she could have free babysitting? I'm honestly really disgusted by the way people take advantage of others, especially girls and women, for free babysitting. Now that I think about it, most of my women friends have done a fair amount of, free babysitting. And most of my male friends don't. I guess this is also a point to think about in the you're the asshole side, is that, like, have you told your parents that you don't appreciate being used this way? But, like, if you're 17 years old, like this commenter says, it's hard to learn to set boundaries as a minor who's probably punished for trying to, particularly when those boundaries need to be against your parents. Parents would have too much power over children. OP wouldn't be the asshole for not having learned a challenging skill. She was actively When I learn about values, I'm writing, don't trick people. Don't make people do things they don't want for free. Another value I have, I guess, is that there's, like, no such thing as absolutes. So I'll just add that as a stipulation also. So, different axes. Doing a thing on purpose, knowing it will hurt someone. Not saying these things make you an asshole, I'm just saying these are different, like, toggles of a situation. Are you acting out of self-preservation? Protecting self. Alright, I'm just gonna do one more and then call it a night, and then probably wait a very long time to edit this. One on the list today. Am I the asshole for laughing at my sister's ridiculous boobs out top and then making don't jump, and no sudden moves jokes all night long. This post has been removed. Next, am I the asshole for telling my brother that his fiance, so many quotation marks on this forum, his fiance is embarrassing. At its root, my instinct says no, but there's a lot of asterisks on that. How did you tell them? Did you tell them in front of a bunch of people? Did you tell them in front of the fiance? Is it embarrassing? Like, on what level? What is happening that's embarrassing? Time to get into it. I, male, 27, am the second oldest of 4 kids. Amy, female, 29. Myself, Robert, male, 26. And Krista, F, 22. This information is completely already gone from my head. We are a pretty close-knit family. However, I feel that Robert's engagement to this girl, Rebecca, female, 26, somewhat threatens that. Robert met Rebecca when Harry met Sally. What's wrong with me? Here's another side note. Part of me was curious about this person that appears when I'm on camera. This performative aspect of me doesn't get to exist all the time. Robert met Rebecca about 5 years ago when they were studying at university, and they started their relationship about 2 years ago. At first, our parents, 65 and 63, I'm gonna start glossing over these details. They're in their 60s. While they didn't openly disapprove of Rebecca, they constantly reminded Robert that she had too different a background, making it unlikely for them to take the relationship seriously.
In what way?
For some context, Rebecca is relatively polite, but a little crude and somewhat lacks modesty. According to Robert himself, she has developed a taste for expensive things, and he often is happy to indulge her. Is it the covering your body kind of modesty, or is it the, like, being humble about your positive traits kind of modesty? Either way, I'm starting to have the feeling that me and the poster do not share values. Amy disapproved from the start. She would tell Robert that Rebecca was crude and only after his money, and that he shouldn't entertain anything with Rebecca. I mean, like, you just can't really, how much can you know? You can like money and also a person. I'm just gonna put that out there. Myself and Krista wouldn't say too much about it, but as things got more serious, I would try to remind Robert that we don't have the same values as Rebecca, and that our parents wouldn't approve. Knowing how our parents value certain things, Robert has kept his relationship more low-key for the past few months. For example, during the Christmas holidays, he claimed to be traveling to Europe with his friends, when in reality, he spent the time with Rebecca and her parents. Next week, we have a rather large extended family gathering from my father's side. Earlier this week, Robert told Amy and myself on a group call that he had proposed to Rebecca, and she said yes!
Take a look at this. Just really quick detour, because they're all out right now. Come on.
I'm begging you to focus, please. All right, I'm gonna manual focus. Oh, wait, no, we got it. I mean, it took so long that there's only one of them out by now, but... Hello! Who dat?
Anyway, in terms of things that are not important. Okay.
Amy was furious with this and told Robert that Rebecca was an unsuitable match for him and that our parents would be livid. Robert said that they would understand eventually, and Amy told him that he was being childish and would be given a harsh reality check when he breaks the news to our parents. I haven't really detected embarrassing behavior for most people's standards, unless it's embarrassing, like, it's embarrassing that he is engaged to someone, I am assuming, not of their class. I was even a little annoyed that he would make such a plan without discussing it with us first. Well, because you're so supportive of his ideas, obviously, but decided not to say anything. After Amy left the call, Robert asked me if it was appropriate to tell our parents. I told him that it wouldn't be, and then he asked why, and I told him he already knew marrying someone like Rebecca would cause significant embarrassment to our parents, particularly in the presence of our family, friends, and extended relatives. He got upset with me and told me that he was hoping for my support, and that it disappointed him. My intention wasn't to hurt his feelings. I only wanted to give him a small glimpse, my brain is starting to fall apart, of how our parents will react when they find out. Am I the asshole? And then there's an update, so I'm gonna pause here. This person, yes, the asshole, I think. There's a way that that last bit could be fine. I only wanted to give him a small glimpse of how our parents will react when they find out. Like, to be honest with your sibling and to be like, hey, our parents have these values and are probably gonna feel like this, in case you weren't expecting or aware of that. I feel like he's already pretty aware, though, given that he's going on a secret Christmas vacation with her family. Sounds like not the family's business. Even if she is ill-intentioned, that's his journey to go on. I guess they seem really sure. No, they don't even seem sure that she's ill-intentioned. I can't tell. Are you sure that she is just, you know, gonna date him for his money and sap the life out of his bank account? Or are they just like, oh, we don't consort with these type of people? It's just very elitist. What's a value? What's this value? You're being an asshole because something matters to you and it doesn't matter to me. You can date who you want? I don't know what to say. I don't know how to describe this. Okay. Update! I spoke with Krista this evening. Earlier today, Amy had brought her up to speed, so she's familiar with the situation. Long story short, she overall isn't too interested and thinks the whole situation will sort itself out. Reasonable. While she thinks Rebecca is a little too clingy, she believes that Robert probably has his reasons for indulging her. If it seems genuinely unhealthy, I give you more leeway to be like, dude, are you sure? As a close person, as a loved one, I want you to know that I see these flags, but nothing really indicates this to me. She did mention that Amy asked her to talk to Robert and ask him to reconsider his decision. You've not given a real reason. But Krista declined as she doesn't believe Robert has done anything wrong yet. However, she said that if Robert does decide to reveal his engagement to her parents during our family gathering, she'll be upset with him if he reveals his engagement to the parents, as it would seem that he intentionally wanted to embarrass them. Or he wants to let supposedly important people in his life know about this other person in his life who's important. I don't think it's with the express purpose of making them feel bad. In fact, I would want for the news to not make them feel bad. The last thing she mentioned is that, like Amy and myself, she believes our parents will significantly reduce Robert's financial support if he decides to proceed with the engagement. She thinks this may be a good thing, as it will give us closure on whether Rebecca is only interested in his money or not. Are these 20-somethings all living off of a fancy allowance? If Rebecca does stick around, Krista says she would be pretty disappointed in me, and especially in Amy. So Krista likes to be on the winning side of history. Well, I'll just have to wait it out and see how things play out. I am worried for Robert, but if he does go ahead with this, then my hands are tied. Yeah! I plan to talk to Robert later and advise him to be more discreet in how he reveals the information to her parents. I'm proceeding to the comments because I feel so strongly about you're the asshole. You don't have a problem with Rebecca developing a taste for expensive things. You have a problem with Rebecca having expensive things because you don't think she deserves them. Woo! Edited to add, she is his fiance no matter how many times you put the word in air quotes because you don't like it. Yes, this person I agree with. You've literally given no example of anything Rebecca has done wrong. Yes, I made up my mind in the judgment when you said your parents didn't complain right away because they thought he was not serious. It's giving Robert is forking the help, but that's fine as long as he actually marries in the right side of the track. Here, I'm gonna write here in my list of values, poor people deserve nice things. That's all the learning we have for tonight. Is this video ever gonna exist? We don't know. Is my battery gonna run out? Yes, eventually, so... Goodbye.